This is McCook's Mr. Bill. It is an honor to have you here, coming from McCook, Nebraska, and some news. Internationally, I had the privilege of speaking from somebody who had come to America. In fact, they came to Nebraska. Where'd they come from? They came from Sweden. They came from Sweden. And so the visit this last week, he told that the reason he left Sweden is he said it was a socialist nation and it was getting worse. It was getting worse. He said that he farmed and had a nice sized farm, but he said when all the regulations and everything put together, he said his taxes were nearing 80% of his income went to taxes. 80%. It was getting real close to it. He said he's absolutely devastating. He was living in poverty while the government was eating lobster, is another way to put it. Oh, he had free health care, and he said you could get right in on anything small, but if you needed any kind of major operations, he said you got to wait. You got to wait. Yeah. But he said it was just getting so bad, and then the government came along and they said, we think you've been cheating us on taxes. And so they took his CDs, the money he had in banks, in CDs, they just confiscated that, or a forfeiture, if you will. Just as in the United States, a farmer can lose his whole farm if there's a wild marijuana plant growing on it. Yeah. Or if you're driving down the road and you have cash in your car, you're going to go buy something and the guy says, I don't want your check, I want cash. And if a cop stops you, the forfeiture law says they can take it. And then you have to pay a lawyer to fight it to try to get it back, and it might cost you more than what they took from you. That's the name of the game. And you have to prove you own the money and you got it legally, not them, saying you did something illegal. So that's why he said he was tired of it. He sold his farm and he still had to give 50% of that to the government. The profits or the sale of the farm, 50% went to the government, and he came over here. He's now a successful businessman in Nebraska, and we're honored and proud to have him here. But that is the international/state news that might be concerning to you. Socialism. He said you never just negotiate with socialism, because if you go halfway with socialism to get along with them, he said then the next time they'll want another negotiated half and another half and another half. Next thing, all of a sudden you have nothing. He said you can never negotiate with them. Stand firm and fight tooth and nail from day one. That was his statement. That was his statement. I would finish it with this news. I was over at Norris Park, an elderly lady walking around. You could tell she was a little tired, so she came over and just stood by the truck. I offered her a free snow cone. She didn't want it. And she got to visiting with me a little bit. I didn't know her. She was new to town, probably in her early 80s. And she said she had grown up here in McCook. She had grown up here in McCook, Nebraska. And she said her mother, when she was 8 years old, left them, just left. The state came in and put them in foster care. She and her three younger sisters, there was 4 of them, put them in foster care. Then they tried to contact the father. He was in combat somewhere in Europe in World War II. The war was pretty much winding down, so the Army, when they got the information, they pulled him out of combat, out of the front lines, and they shipped him home. They said, you go take care of your 4 little girls. You go take care of your 4 little girls. And she enjoyed living as a child in McCook. They moved to big cities later when she got married, but she said, I wanted to come back here since her husband passed away, and she wanted to come back here for a simpler way to end life in a small town. And McCook was a great place to do that, she thought. It was an honor to speak to her and to hear a World War II story from on this side of the pond, if you will.